You can always sense when her energy changes around you, before she even says a word, and that's where everything truly begins. A woman who secretly likes you won't always express it directly, but her body will speak, her mood will shift, and her presence will transform. Attraction isn't just verbal, it's vibrational. The moment you walk into the room, something about her becomes just a little more alive, a little more aware, a little more open. She may suddenly start adjusting her hair, touching her face, or smiling more frequently when she's around you. Not because she planned it, but because her body is reacting before her mind can filter it. You'll notice she holds your gaze a second longer, or her pupils dilate when you're speaking. Maybe she fidgets more or laughs a bit louder at things that aren't even that funny. All of these are subtle, unconscious ways her energy is reaching out to you without her needing to say a single word. Now, here's what's powerful about this. Women are intuitive. They rarely expose emotion without thinking. But when attraction begins to bypass logic, it shows up in energy, because energy doesn't lie. She might remain calm around others, but when it's you, there's a soft vulnerability that begins to surface. It's not dramatic, it's not theatrical, but it's there. Maybe she talks faster or slower. Maybe she finds small excuses to stay near you longer than necessary. Or her tone of voice softens slightly, as if her entire nervous system wants to relax in your presence. What you're witnessing in those moments is not just interest, it's emotional signaling, and most men miss it. They're too focused on what a woman says instead of how she shifts, too caught up in overt flirting when the real language of attraction is subtle. Her energy changes because emotionally she's already drawn to you. She doesn't know what it means yet or how far it will go, but the shift is the start of something real. And here's where emotional intelligence comes in. If you respond with awareness, if you stay grounded, calm, and present, you make her feel safe. And that safety gives her permission to feel more. But if you act needy, overly impressed, or try to immediately seal the deal, she'll feel exposed and she'll retreat. Why? Because her body spoke before her mind gave consent. She won't like being read too quickly or too aggressively. She wants to feel seen, not cornered. The challenge is not to react, but to observe, to read between the silences, to notice the space between words. A high-value man doesn't rush to respond. He allows space for her energy to keep revealing more. That's what builds emotional tension, and tension, when handled with maturity, leads to connection. So the next time her energy subtly shifts around you, when her body language relaxes, her tone warms, and she lingers in your orbit just a little longer, don't ask, does she like me? Ask instead, am I emotionally present enough to receive what she's silently offering? Because the woman who likes you won't always say it out loud, but her energy will always speak first. And if you learn to hear it, you'll never miss your moment again. When a woman secretly likes you, she begins to prioritize you in subtle, almost unintentional ways. It's not grand gestures or obvious declarations. It's how she weaves you into her everyday life without even realizing she's doing it. She starts to make space for you. She finds ways to be near you, to stay in your orbit, and to invest time in your world, even if she hasn't admitted to herself exactly why. This isn't about chasing or desperation. It's something much deeper than that. It's an emotional prioritization. You begin to matter more to her than logic can explain. Maybe she remembers the smallest details of something you said in passing weeks ago. Maybe she sends you a video or a meme that reminds her of a joke you once shared. Or perhaps she shows up to the same event or social circle you're a part of, even when she had every reason to be somewhere else. This is her unconscious effort to stay close to the emotional source you've become for her. Understand something here. Women are emotionally tuned in. When they feel something for a man, they begin to create space for him emotionally first and then practically. They rearrange their time, energy, and attention to include you without making it obvious. That's because for many women, vulnerability still feels risky. So instead of saying, I want to be around you, they show it through presence, consistency, and proximity. She won't say, I changed my plans just to see you. She'll say, I was just in the area, but emotionally, she placed herself in that area for a reason. She's not going to confess it because confession means exposure. Instead, she'll let her actions become the breadcrumb trail, hoping you're observant enough to follow it. And here's the deeper psychology of this. When a woman prioritizes you without consciously deciding to, it means her emotional body is leading the way. Her mind may still be guarded, unsure, or even scared, but her heart is already involved. That's why she's making space for you. She wants connection, but fears being too forward. So she does what's safe. She subtly shows up over and over again. As a man, your role is to honor that effort, not exploit it. Don't call her out on it in a way that puts her on the spot. Instead, mirror that consistency. Match the emotional investment with grounded presence. Make her feel that being near you isn't a risk, it's a sanctuary. That's when her defenses lower. That's when attraction deepens into emotional intimacy. What most men do wrong is ignore these small prioritizations. They assume if a woman isn't confessing her feelings, she isn't interested. But women show interest in layers, in patterns, in quiet efforts to be seen without being exposed. So the next time a woman gives you more of her time, more of her presence, more of her attention, don't brush it off. Don't assume it's nothing. Real attraction doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. And those whispers, if you listen closely, will tell you everything you need to know. When a woman secretly likes you, she won't always respond with softness. In fact, sometimes she'll test you. And that test isn't meant to push you away. It's her way of measuring who you are when emotions are on the line. Attraction, especially the kind that's unspoken, often triggers vulnerability, and vulnerability demands trust. So instead of handing over her feelings, she'll challenge your stability first. You see, a woman who's emotionally invested but hesitant will often create small moments of emotional tension. She might tease you in ways that border on flirtation, or she'll pull back unexpectedly after opening up. One day she seems warm and open, and the next distant and unreadable. To the untrained man, it may feel like mixed signals, but to a man who understands emotional dynamics, it's clear. She's not playing games. She's protecting her heart by testing your capacity to hold space for it. Why does this happen? Because for a woman, attraction isn't just about charm or looks. It's about emotional safety. She wants to know that if she reveals herself to you, you won't judge her, mock her, or collapse under the pressure of her honesty. So she watches your reactions. She notices how you handle silence, how you respond to sarcasm, whether you become defensive, dismissive, or remain calm and steady. This isn't manipulation. It's emotional instinct. A woman doesn't test a man because she wants to hurt him. She tests him to know if he's capable of being trusted. She wants to feel emotionally held, not just physically desired. And so she presents a challenge, not as a wall, but as a doorway. If you walk through it with maturity and grounded energy, she'll begin to soften. If you react impulsively or try to fix her discomfort with validation, she'll sense that you're not quite ready to handle her truth. There's a psychological elegance to these moments. The challenge isn't the problem, it's the invitation. She's asking, can you read beneath my sarcasm? Can you sense my fear behind the distance? Can you remain present even when I'm unpredictable? If the answer is yes, then you're showing her something no words ever could. You're emotionally safe. And here's where most men fail. They take the test personally. They get angry. They pull away. They assume she's just playing hard to get. But that's a shallow interpretation of a much deeper process. A woman will only test a man she actually sees potential in. If she didn't care, she wouldn't bother. Indifference never tests. Hope does. So when you find yourself being challenged, questioned, or thrown into emotional gray zones, don't rush to react. Don't try to win her over with explanations or pressure her to define what she wants. Just stay steady. Stay emotionally grounded. Let your calm presence be the answer she's looking for. Because sometimes the most powerful way to show a woman she's safe to feel something for you is to simply not flinch when she tests if you're real. There's something quietly revealing about the way a woman shares her world when she secretly likes you. It might not be obvious. She might not say, I want you to be part of my life. But watch how she gradually opens small windows into it. This isn't just casual conversation. It's an offering, an emotional invitation. And it often begins with her sharing personal things, stories, struggles, memories, even vulnerabilities she doesn't easily disclose to others. When a woman is drawn to a man but hasn't yet verbalized her feelings, she'll often test emotional closeness by revealing fragments of herself. She might talk about her childhood, her dreams, her fears, or the things that keep her up at night. She'll do this not because she wants sympathy, but because she's observing how you respond to the unfiltered parts of her. She's searching for depth, not surface-level connection. She wants to know, can you handle the real her? And here's the truth most men overlook. When a woman shares parts of her story, she's not just filling silence, she's giving you clues. She's letting you into her emotional landscape. It's a quiet confession of trust. She's showing you the blueprint of her values, her pain, her hopes. She might do it in pieces, cautiously, but each piece she shares is another layer of the emotional bond she's building with you. This is also where her attraction deepens, because emotional intimacy, far more than physical attraction, is what anchors a woman to a man. If she feels emotionally understood by you, if she feels seen and not judged, she begins to form a unique attachment, not a needy one, but a conscious one. The kind that says, I feel safe showing you more of who I really am. What you need to understand here is that women are not just looking for a good listener. They're looking for resonance. When she speaks, she wants to feel that you're not just hearing her, you're feeling her. That you're not trying to fix her pain, but that you're strong enough to sit in it with her. She doesn't need answers, she needs presence. She needs to feel that you aren't scared by her complexity. This is where most men misstep. They interrupt, they analyze, they give advice, but what she's really asking in these moments is far simpler. Can you hold space for what I've lived through without turning away? Because if you can, she'll begin to open up to you in ways that no surface-level connection could ever touch. So, when a woman tells you something real, something unfiltered, unscripted, and maybe even uncomfortable, don't rush to respond. Pause. Let her words land. Let her feel your grounded attention. Because in that pause, you show her that her story matters. And when a woman feels her story is safe with you, she won't just like you, she'll trust you. And trust is the bridge between secret attraction and visible connection. Learn to walk that bridge with care and you'll never have to guess where you stand with her again. When a woman secretly likes you, her body language often betrays her before her words ever will. It's one of the most honest channels of communication because it bypasses conscious thought. She may never say, I'm into you, but her gestures, her posture, her proximity, they speak for her. And if you're perceptive enough to listen, you'll see everything you need to see. One of the clearest signals is how physically present she becomes around you. Does she lean in just slightly when you speak? Does her body naturally angle toward you, even in a group? These aren't random occurrences. They're subconscious cues of interest. Her nervous system is telling her, I feel drawn to this person. I want to be near him. And so she finds excuses to stay close. Her hand lightly brushes against yours. Her laugh lingers a little longer. Her eyes hold yours just a second past what's considered normal. None of it is accidental. This isn't about seduction in the theatrical sense. It's about openness. It's about emotional alignment being mirrored through physical gestures. Women are intuitive creatures, and when they feel emotionally safe, or when they desire to feel safe, they begin to express that desire through the smallest physical openings. The crossed arms uncross. The distance shortens. The voice softens. Her entire presence begins to invite you in long before she consciously realizes she's doing it. But here's what you must remember. This kind of physical openness isn't an invitation to pounce. It's an opportunity to connect deeper. A mistake many men make is misinterpreting physical signs as permission to accelerate intimacy without emotional readiness. That's not what she's signaling. What she's really showing is curiosity, comfort, and a willingness to trust. You might even notice moments where she mirrors your movements. If you shift your posture, she subtly shifts hers. This is called limbic resonance, and it's a powerful indicator that she's attuning to your emotional energy. It means you're in sync, at least on some subconscious level. And that kind of alignment doesn't happen randomly. It happens when a woman is emotionally invested, even if she hasn't yet found the words to express it. It's also why she may seem extra alert to your presence. She notices when you walk into a room. Her eyes track you, even if her conversation continues. That subtle awareness is a form of psychological gravity. You've pulled her attention, and now it orbits you. Not by force, not by performance, but by presence. So, if you want to know how she really feels, observe how her body behaves in your presence. Not once, not twice, but consistently. Attraction doesn't always make noise. Sometimes it reveals itself through silence, proximity, and the tension in a shared glance. The lesson here is simple but profound. Words can lie, but the body rarely does. When you learn to read her silent language, you begin to see the truth most men miss. And that truth, when received with maturity, gives you not just an advantage, but the power to respond with clarity, care, and confidence. Sometimes the loudest signal a woman likes you, but won't say it, isn't found in what she does, but in what she doesn't do with other men. It's subtle, easily missed if you're not paying attention. But when a woman deliberately places emotional and physical boundaries between herself and other men while still giving you exclusive access to her attention, that's not coincidence. That's intentional, and it speaks volumes. She may not declare her feelings openly. She may not even flirt in an obvious way. But watch how she behaves around other guys. There's a polite distance, a guarded energy, a subtle withdrawal, not because she dislikes them, but because her emotional availability is being saved, whether consciously or not, for someone specific. Often, that someone is you. Attraction, especially when it's not yet confessed, creates a kind of emotional reservation. She won't be as touchy with others. She won't open up to them the way she does with you. She may even appear cold or uninterested in typical social situations. That's not indifference. It's selectivity. She's filtering her energy, conserving it, and whether she knows it or not, channeling it in your direction. Now here's the psychological truth. When a woman truly desires someone but hasn't vocalized it, she often tries to control the narrative around herself. She becomes more aware of how she's perceived, especially by the one she secretly likes. This means she'll subtly manage how she shows up around other men, carefully avoiding anything that could be misinterpreted as flirtation or emotional availability. She's not playing hard to get. She's practicing emotional loyalty even before a relationship has begun. And this is where a lot of men make the mistake of focusing only on how a woman treats them, without considering how she behaves in contrast with others. If you want to truly gauge interest, don't just look at your one-on-one interactions. Zoom out. Watch how she interacts with the world and then compare that to how she is with you. The contrast reveals everything. And let's go deeper for a moment, because there's a layer of feminine psychology here that's often misunderstood. For many women, emotional exclusivity begins long before physical exclusivity. If she's guarding her energy from others while letting you see more of her more often with more depth, that's emotional fidelity. And emotional fidelity, even in its early stages, is a profound sign of developing love. But here's the catch. Many men are so busy looking for obvious declarations that they miss the quiet consistency. And consistency is key. If she's consistently warm with you, consistently reserved with others, consistently choosing your presence, then what she hasn't said with words, she's already declared with behavior. So pay attention, not just to what she gives, but to what she withholds from everyone else. The most powerful truths aren't always shouted. Some are whispered through patterns, through restraint, through loyalty shown before commitment. And if you're wise enough to see those signs, you'll stop chasing clarity and start recognizing that it's already there, right in front of you.